Could NATO, the world's most powerful military alliance, truly wipe Russia off the map? This is a question that has sparked endless debate amongst military enthusiasts and strategic analysts alike. But before we dive into this conversation, let's first understand the current military power balance between NATO and Russia. When we talk about NATO, we're referring to an alliance of 28 countries that together possess the world's most powerful military. It's a formidable force with an impressive array of high-tech weaponry, a vast network of advanced intelligence, and a collective military budget that surpasses any other alliance in the world. The sheer size of NATO's forces, combined with their strategic positioning across the globe, gives them a significant advantage on the global stage. But let's not underestimate Russia. Despite being a single nation, Russia holds its own against this powerful alliance. It boasts the world's second-largest military, and while it may not match NATO's collective budget, it compensates with its strategic positioning and technological prowess. Russia's strength lies in its vast landmass, its nuclear arsenal, and its tactical capabilities, which have been honed over decades of military experience. On the surface, it might seem like NATO holds the upper hand. After all, they have the numbers, the budget, and the global reach. But a closer look reveals that Russia has its own set of strengths that balance the scales. It's a classic case of quality versus quantity, with Russia's strategic advantages offsetting NATO's numerical superiority. So, can NATO truly wipe Russia off the map? It's not as simple as it sounds. In this complex game of military chess, each move and countermove has far-reaching implications, and the stakes are higher than ever. The power balance is delicate, and any shift could have catastrophic consequences. The scales of power are not as clear-cut as they might first appear, so stick around as we delve deeper into this fascinating topic. We'll examine the military might of NATO, the counterbalance of Russia, the role of nuclear deterrence, and the cost of war. This is a conversation you don't want to miss. NATO, a powerhouse of 30 nations, has an undoubtedly formidable military presence. What makes NATO's military might so formidable? To start with, it's the sheer technological advancements at its disposal. From state-of-the-art fighter jets that slice through the sky, to naval vessels that can navigate the most treacherous waters, to cyber warfare capabilities that can disrupt an enemy's communication systems in the blink of an eye. NATO's technological prowess is a force to be reckoned with. But technology is only part of the story. NATO also boasts an impressive pool of manpower. The combined military personnel of all 30 member nations is a staggering number. This force is not just large in volume but also diverse in skills and expertise. From seasoned commanders to specialized engineers, from sharpshooters to medics, NATO's manpower is as varied as it is vast. Now let's talk about strategic alliances. NATO's strength lies not just in its military capabilities, but also in the unity of its members. 30 nations, each with its own strengths and specialties, working together towards a common goal. This unity is a powerful deterrent against any potential adversary, and let's not forget the strategic locations of NATO's member nations. Straddling the Atlantic and reaching into the Arctic, NATO's geographical spread is a significant advantage. This allows for rapid response times, versatile deployment of forces, and a broad scope for intelligence gathering. But it's important to remember that military might is more than just numbers and hardware. It's also about strategy, discipline, and the will to defend shared values. That's where NATO really shines. Its commitment to collective defense, democratic principles, and the peaceful resolution of disputes is what truly sets it apart. NATO's collective power is impressive, but power alone does not dictate the outcome of a conflict. Military might is a necessary tool, but it's the use of this tool, guided by wisdom and restraint, that ultimately makes the difference. Russia, though outnumbered in alliances, holds its own with a robust and technologically advanced military. It may be easy to overlook Russia in the face of the sheer number of nations that make up NATO, but that would be a grave miscalculation. Russia's military capabilities are not just about numbers, but also about strategy, technology, and geography. Let's start with the numbers. Russia boasts one of the world's largest nuclear arsenals, a formidable deterrent that demands respect and caution. This arsenal is continually modernized, ensuring Russia's place at the nuclear table. But it's not all about nuclear power. Russia's conventional forces are nothing to shrug off either. They are constantly evolving, with new technologies and tactics being integrated to keep them at the forefront of modern warfare. And then there's technology. Russia is a global leader in the development of advanced defense systems. These systems, which include state-of-the-art radar and missile technologies, provide Russia with a robust shield against potential threats. Russia's defense industry is a powerhouse of innovation, constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the field of military technology. Finally, we mustn't forget about geography. Russia's vast size and strategic positioning give it a unique advantage. It's not just about having a large territory to defend, but also about being able to project power across different regions. From the icy Arctic in the north to the warm waters of the Black Sea in the south, Russia's geographical location allows it to influence a wide range of strategic areas. So, while NATO may have more member nations, Russia's military strength is nothing to be scoffed at. Its combination of a vast nuclear arsenal, advanced defense technologies, and strategic geographical positioning make it a formidable counterbalance. Russia's military capabilities should not be underestimated, despite the number of nations against it. The specter of nuclear warfare looms large over any conflict between these global powers. As we delve into the chilling world of nuclear capabilities, we find two formidable opponents staring each other down across a precipice of unimaginable destruction. On one side, NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, with its combined nuclear arsenal, possesses a significant deterrent. The United States alone, as a NATO member, has a staggering 4,000 warheads in its stockpile. When we consider the nuclear arms held by other NATO member nations, such as the United Kingdom and France, the collective strength becomes even more formidable. On the opposite side of this grim equation, we find Russia. Boasting the world's largest nuclear arsenal, Russia commands respect and caution. With an estimated 4,500 nuclear warheads, Russia's nuclear prowess is a force to be reckoned with. But what does this mean in real terms? Well, we're talking about the potential to unleash destruction on a scale that is barely comprehensible. A single nuclear detonation over a major city could result in millions of casualties and render the area uninhabitable for generations. Imagine then the horrifying aftermath of a full-scale nuclear war. We're talking about a global catastrophe, a nuclear winter that could plunge our world into darkness, extinguishing life as we know it. This is the grim reality that keeps the fingers of world leaders well away from the proverbial red button. It's a sobering thought indeed, that the very weapons designed to protect nations could, if used, lead to their ultimate destruction. This is the essence of the nuclear deterrent. It's not about who can strike first or strike hardest, but about the unspoken agreement that no one should strike at all. For the sake of humanity, let's hope that this agreement continues to hold. The reality of nuclear warfare is a sobering thought, a deterrent that keeps the world's superpowers in check. But beyond the firepower and strategic maneuvers, what would be the true cost of such a conflict? Let's peel back the layers of this question and delve into the potential human, economic, and global political consequences of a conflict between NATO and Russia. To begin with, the human cost of war is always the most immediate and heart-wrenching. Lives lost, families torn apart, homes destroyed. These are the stark realities that headline every conflict. In a hypothetical war between NATO and Russia, millions of people would inevitably be caught in the crossfire. Soldiers and civilians alike would pay the price, their futures erased in a blink of an eye. The echoes of their loss would reverberate through generations. But the toll of war isn't only human, there's a heavy economic price to pay as well. In the aftermath of conflict, nations often find themselves burdened by insurmountable debt, a stagnant economy, and a decimated infrastructure. The rebuilding process can take decades, if not centuries, further plunging countries into a cycle of poverty and instability. And then there's the global political fallout. War doesn't just change the landscape of the nations involved, it alters the geopolitical balance of the entire world. Allies become enemies, relationships are strained, and the global community becomes a battleground of ideologies. The ripple effects of a conflict between NATO and Russia could lead to a new Cold War, or worse, a global conflict that threatens the very fabric of international relations. In the face of such dire consequences, diplomacy becomes the weapon of choice. When it comes to the complex dance between NATO and Russia, diplomacy is the linchpin that holds the precarious balance in place. The annals of history are filled with instances where diplomacy has diffused tensions and averted potential catastrophes. The Cuban Missile Crisis of the 60s, perhaps one of the tensest standoffs of the Cold War era, was eventually resolved not through military might, but through delicate diplomatic negotiations. Fast forward to the modern era, and diplomacy continues to play a crucial role. Despite the high stakes and the potential for conflict, diplomatic channels between NATO and Russia have remained open. The NATO-Russia Council, established at the turn of the 21st century, serves as a platform for dialogue and information exchange, working to build mutual understanding and reduce the risk of conflict. And let's not forget about the role of third-party diplomacy. Neutral states often act as mediators, facilitating conversations between NATO and Russia. These diplomatic efforts may not make the headlines, but they are often instrumental in maintaining a tense peace. Of course, diplomacy is not a magic bullet. It's a slow, painstaking process filled with setbacks and false starts. It requires patience, understanding, and a willingness to compromise. But when the alternative is the unimaginable horror of a full-scale war, surely the effort is worth it. And so, as we navigate the complex geopolitical landscape of the 21st century, the power of diplomacy remains more important than ever. It's the tool that allows us to turn potential enemies into partners, to transform fear into understanding, and to replace the specter of war with the hope of peace. After all, in the grand scheme of things, isn't it better to sit around a table and talk, rather than stand on opposite sides of a battlefield? Diplomacy, not destruction, remains our best hope for a peaceful future. So, could NATO truly wipe Russia off the map? As we've traversed through the complex dynamics of global military power, it's clear that the question isn't as simple as it might initially seem. Let's revisit the key points. We've seen the power balance, how the scales tip on either side, teetering between NATO's military might and Russia's sturdy counterbalance. NATO boasts an impressive strength in numbers and technology, with 29 member countries contributing to a formidable force. On the other hand, Russia, though standing alone, is no pushover. Its vast geographical expanse and its own advanced military assets pose a significant challenge. We've also delved into the chilling aspect of the nuclear deterrent. The mere thought of nuclear warfare is enough to make the strongest of us shudder. It's a terrifying stalemate, with both NATO and Russia having enough firepower to cause catastrophic damage. A nuclear war, as we've discussed, has no winners. It's a bleak scenario where victory is replaced by survival, and even that is uncertain. The cost of war, both in terms of human lives and economic toll, is another factor we cannot ignore. War is a costly affair, not just monetarily but also emotionally. The scars it leaves on the landscape of humanity can take generations to heal, if at all. And finally, we've explored the power of diplomacy. In a world teetering on the brink of potential disaster, diplomacy is the key to maintaining a delicate balance. It's the chess game that keeps the world turning, the art of negotiation and compromise that keeps us from hurtling into the abyss of war. The question is not whether NATO could, but whether it should. The answer, for the sake of humanity, must always be no. After all, the preservation of our world and the survival of our species depend on our ability to choose peace over conflict, dialogue over destruction. Your thoughts matter in this complex and ever-evolving discussion. The world isn't just a stage where nations flex their military might, it's a complex tapestry of stories, perspectives, and ideas. Your insights can potentially shed light on angles we may have overlooked, or provide fresh takes on age-old debates. So don't hesitate to share your thoughts. If this video sparked a question, an observation, or even a counter-argument, let's hear it. Our comment section isn't just a place for feedback. It's a platform for discussion, a marketplace of ideas. Let's keep our conversations respectful, but never shy away from asking the tough questions. However, the conversation doesn't have to end here. If you're intrigued by topics like these, the delicate balance of power, the staggering scale of military might, and the intricate dance of diplomacy, consider subscribing to our channel. We delve into these matters and more, breaking down complex issues into digestible content and sparking discussions that matter. By subscribing, you're not just signing up for more content. You're joining a community of thinkers, enthusiasts, and curious minds. You're taking a step towards staying informed, towards understanding the world a little bit better each day. We live in a world that's constantly changing, where today's certainties may become tomorrow's question marks. Staying informed isn't just about keeping up with the news, it's about understanding the undercurrents that drive the headlines, the forces that shape our world. So join us, subscribe to our channel, contribute your thoughts, and let's navigate this vast, complex world together. Let's challenge our preconceptions, broaden our horizons, and strive towards a deeper understanding of the world we live in. Stay informed, stay engaged, and remember, peace is a responsibility we all share.